Last time on Dragon Ball Z, Tora, Fasha, and Borgos successfully helped Goku defeat the tyrant Frieza. Although they perished, they were brought back after an arduous battle. Now Goku returned to Earth along with a new ally, Shugesh, the 4th Saiyan in Bardock Squad and the one that was banished from Namek after causing trouble. But why is he back? A mechanical menace attacks now. Shadows of the Future! What if Bardock Squad Survived Part 3?
Tora and Fasha couldn't believe it. Standing before them was not only Bardock's son, Goku, but also their former comrade, Shugesh. It had been decades since the last saw him, ever since he was banished from their adoptive planet of Namek. Before anyone could bombard the pair of Saiyans with questions, Goku looked around and asked what the heck happened here. He could have sworn that he sensed Frieza's power here before it suddenly went away. Trunks stepped forward and said that he was the one to take care of Frieza. Goku congratulates the boy before admitting that he doesn't know who he is. As Trunks steps away with Goku to tell him something private, the rest of the Z fighters look at Shugesh. Tora, Fasha, and Shugesh simply stare at each other in awkward silence before Shugesh decides to break the ice, saying, "So, how you guys been?" Tora goes in for a hug with Shugesh as he reciprocates. Fasha smirks and he punches him in the shoulder, asking where he's been this whole time. Shugesh explains that after he left Namek, he became a freedom fighter and launched attacks against many of Frieza's outposts. Over time, he started to gather a gang of people with similar grudges against Frieza. He ended up becoming an unlikely leader of a rebellion, and for many years, he roamed the galaxy with his crew to liberate the Frieza Force planets. It took a while, but he thinks that he finally understands the lesson that the Grand Elder Guru was talking about so long ago. He asks the pair how the Elder and the Namekians are doing, and they look at each other solemnly. They explain the events that happened on Namek, Frieza's invasion, the death of Nail and the Elder, their battles against Frieza, and their meetings with the Earthlings, and with Bardock's son, Kakarot. Meanwhile, Trunks reveals himself to be a time traveler from the future. He asks Goku exactly who these Saiyans are since he's never heard of them from where he came from. Goku tells Trunks not to worry, and then they're good people. They used to be friends with his dad. Trunks gives him a warning about a pair of androids that would lay waste to the planet in 3 years' time. He also gives him a heart medicine to save his life. He wishes Goku luck before departing in his time machine. Goku regroups with the others, and he tells everyone about the time traveler's warning. Everyone is shocked to hear about these androids, especially Tora. He clenches his fist as he hears about how these robots destroyed planet Earth and killed their last remaining members of Bardock's family. Tora pledges to protect Goku and his family with all his might, as Fasha retorts, saying that he can't protect anything if he can't figure out how to turn Super Saiyan first. Fasha then asks Goku how he met Shugesh. Goku tells his story about what happened after his battle against Frieza. After escaping to a planet named Yardrad on a Ginyu space pod, the local inhabitants nursed him back to health, as their elder, Pibara, trained Goku in various spiritual techniques, along with a method of controlling his new Super Saiyan state. During the training, Pibara mentioned that he wasn't the first Saiyan to be trained there. This surprised Goku. He asked his master for more details on this Saiyan, and he starts to get excited. Many years ago, another more violent Saiyan crashed on the planet. He was angry, a lost soul who needed more guidance. It took many years of training for him to steady his soul and temper his mind. Goku excitedly begs his master to meet this guy. He sounds pretty strong. Pibara agrees that perhaps having his former pupil around could help Goku further refine his Super Saiyan transformation. He searches for Shugesh's key and finds it out in space. However, he's concerned. He sees that the Saiyan's key is extremely low and dropping fast. Pibara asks Goku for assistance in rescuing the pupil. As they both instant transmission to Shugesh, they appear in front of the wounded man. Shugesh is lying on the floor of a spaceship, motionless, his key dropping. Pibara does what he can to stabilize him, while Goku looks over to the controls of the ship and sees that there's someone laying on top of it, dead, an alien creature of some kind. Once back at Yardrad, Shugesh comes to his senses. He couldn't believe what he saw as he woke up. Bardock. Goku was taken aback. This man knew his father too. After a little more conversation, Shugesh explained that he ended up on planet Zune. His squad had been investigating a mysterious gang of evildoers that engraved themselves with an M on their forehead. They had been kidnapping many powerful individuals through the galaxy after the fall of the Frieza Empire. What he didn't expect was to find a man called Dabura, who proclaimed that he wanted to revive an ancient evil known as Majin Buu and serve his master, Babidi. Dabura slaughtered Shugesh's men And although Shugesh wanted to battle till death, one of his men shoved him into a spaceship. The soldier typed the coordinates for Namek, and just as he finished, he was blasted along with Shugesh. The ship sped off, but Dabura and the rest assumed that they were all dead. Shugesh lived, but his squadron perished. Now the Saiyan makes it his mission to not only avenge his squad, but also stop this Babidi and whoever Majin Buu is. Back in the present, Shugesh sees these androids as an opportunity to find someone who's strong enough to defeat Dabura. They all have a long way to go, but he hopes that Goku can do it. Shugesh is also introduced to Vegeta, who doesn't care much for him, although the story about the Demon King does pique his interest. Shugesh notices the prince's loud and prideful demeanor, which reminds him of how he used to be. Shugesh offers to show Vegeta a different way, but the prince immediately rebukes the offer, saying that it's of no interest, and he doesn't care about this low-class trash. During the 3 years of training, Shugesh served largely as a mentor for Goku, though he also took a liking to Gohan. The kid would always want a challenge, and Shugesh gave him some tips, though he didn't take it too seriously. Fasha and Piccolo trained together a lot, and she was actually the first one to transform into a Super Saiyan after Goku. She achieved it when Piccolo nearly defeated her in a match. She saw a mirage of Nail, sensing him from within Piccolo. The Namekian was very proud, though part of him wished that she would stop hanging around him so much. Nail's side appreciated it though. Tora trained largely with Shugesh and Goku as well, and the three, along with Gohan, would discuss and tell stories about Bardock and Gine. Every piece of Bardock's past both surprised and infuriated Goku. Saiyans were awful killers, but Tora always punctuated the stories by reminding Goku that in the end, Bardock changed his ways in order to save him, even if it was too late for him. Tora was the third person to turn into a Super Saiyan, achieving it during a battle against Goku, and being reminded of Bardock. Eventually, the 3 years passed, and Shugesh was very happy with their progress. He never achieved Super Saiyan status himself. He decided long ago that he wouldn't rely on this anger dictating his actions ever again. Instead, he wanted to try a different approach. Don't underestimate him, however. He's still a mighty foe. Tora and Shugesh also made sure that Goku took the hard medicine. Then, the androids attacked. Goku and the rest arrived on an island city. What they didn't expect was that at the moment of the explosion, another explosion was felt from a very far distance. Two androids attack at the same time. Bulma informed them that there were news reportings about another attack occurring at the same time in Ginger Town. So Goku, Shugesh, Krillin, and Tien agreed to check it out. Meanwhile, Fasha, Gohan, Yamcha, and Tora would stay to fight these androids. Goku and Shugesh teleported everyone to the key presence, near a scared civilian in Ginger Town. The smoke blinded them, but they watched as two pairs of red eyes beamed through the smoke, a short one and a tall one. They called themselves androids number 14 and 15. The fight started with an explosive punch of Goku. The androids didn't stand a chance. Shugesh, however, was having a little bit more trouble. Even so, he stood his ground. Meanwhile, Dr. Gero finds Yamcha, and the bandit immediately falls to the curse of Yamcha, getting his energy drained when Fasha finds them. She reacts quickly, picking up a nearby truck and slamming it into the androids, which saves Yamcha, although he does get hurt in the process. Yamcha scolds Fasha for nearly killing him, but she smirks, replying with a "you're welcome." The other Saiyans gather as they question the old man and the clown.
You two were unexpected visitors. It's because of you that I had to release 14 and 15. Doesn't matter, your days are counted.
Dr. Gero explains that his goal is to kill Goku and the other heroes before taking over in the name of the Red Ribbon Army. Tora clenches his fist, declaring that no one can harm Goku and his family. Tora rushes at Dr. Gero as the others deal with 19. Yamcha warns everyone about the android's ability to absorb energy as he attempts to recompose himself. Tora exchanges many blows with Gero, but he remains cautious of his hands. As Tora struggles against Gero, the doctor coldly states that he's been planning his revenge for many years, but his entire plan could have been accomplished if it wasn't for so many different unknown variables. These variables being Tora and the other Saiyan friends. Because of this, he was forced to release some older models of androids in order to deal with these new fighters. Suddenly, before the doctor could say anything else, 19 is kicked towards Gero and knocks him off his feet, shooting them both towards a building. Fasha smirks to herself, saying that if they don't like these unknown variables, they really won't like this. She yells out, charging her ki to the max, her aura and hair turning golden, unleashing the mighty roar of a Super Saiyan. This shocks Jiro quite a bit. Fasha charges the 19. She dodges all of the android's punches before grabbing his arms and snapping them like a twig. A scared number 19 tries to grab her throat, but she easily dodges and slashes his arm off too. Fasha chuckles as she begins to walk slowly towards the machine. It had been ages since she had dominated another warrior like this. It reminded her of times she used to conquer planets with Bardock and his squad. 19 is horrified and attempts to run away, but Fasha appears in front of him, headbutting him repeatedly until his face is nearly unrecognizable, just bolts and wires. She picks him up immediately and crashes him back down against her knee. The impact is so powerful that 19 breaks apart, electric circuits and oil flying off everywhere as the remaining husk of 19 falls on the floor. Gohan, Yamcha, and even Jiro are left in shock and awe at the brutal display. Tora chastises Fasha, asking her if she really needed to go that far, but she simply shrugs her shoulders and says that she never hold back against her enemies. Besides, these robot rejects were planning on raising the planet, so it's only fair to not show them mercy. During this conversation, Jiro recognizes that this battle is lost and immediately takes the chance to escape. Gohan yells out that Jiro is getting away, and the warriors speed off after him. Goku focused on 15, while Krillin and Tien rushed against 14. Shugesh stood back and watched. Goku dodged out of the way of a blast from 15, but this gave 14 a chance to grab onto him. The android created a barrier that hurt Goku immensely and kept everyone away. They realized that the barrier was impenetrable. 15 began to rain down ki bullets, and in response, Krillin and Tien fired a Kamehameha and a Dodonpa. 15 activated his barrier as well. Shugesh had an idea. The blasts were slowly pushing the android away. Shugesh charged up his ki to the max and fired a huge blast. This pushed 15 and his barrier into 14's own barrier. The two force fields making contact exploded and sent both hurling out to the ground. 15's head rolled off to Goku's leg. 14 took the opportunity and the confusion to grab onto 15's body and slammed it against Shugesh, his nose breaking. With the gust of dirt around them, 14 looked ready to finish off Shugesh. It's then that 14 explodes. Vegeta had arrived. His Super Saiyan aura pushed away the dust, and he dropped his hand, having just destroyed 14 with a big bang attack. Following the battle, Goku and his team teleported back to help. They find the fighters going after Dr. Gero. They end up on the hillside where this lab is at. In desperation, and realizing his other androids had failed as well, Gero reluctantly activates more. 16, 17, 18, and 13. He hoped this would be enough. The one he almost didn't free was 16. He couldn't bear deal with the death of someone that looked just like his son again. Android 13 was an older android developed by Gero's computer. He was one of the most powerful, but he was incomplete, needing parts from 15 and 14 to reach his maximal potential. Similar to another creature he was developing, 17 and 18 threatened Gero, but 16 steps in the way. He's completely loyal, and Gero orders him to protect him at all costs. 17 and 18 get into a small scuffle, but realize that this isn't worth their time, warning Gero that he can stay alive as long as they can keep him in sight. Gero agrees. 13 pushes the twins away. They complain, but realize that it was because the door of the lab came hurling towards them. The Z fighters had arrived, led by Vegeta this time, another Super Saiyan. 13 slams his way out of the lab, taking everyone in his way down. Without a choice, Vegeta starts to battle against 13. 18 and 17 find this a drag, but they join. 18 fights Fasha, while Tora fights 17. An incoming blast gets slapped away by 16, and he focuses on the assailant, Goku. Gero puts a hand on 16's chest. 16 nodded, and Goku's toughest fight began. But the Saiyans don't stand a chance. These androids are out of this world. Even Trunks' warning seemed insignificant. It was Trunks. Android 13 smashed his knee against Vegeta's groin, leaving him out of the battle. This was once Shugesh realized that they needed to escape. Without even telling them, he teleported Tora, Fasha, and the rest out of there to Goku's home. Fasha yelled at Shugesh that she had 18, only to fall back down from her injuries. Vegeta slowly gets up, screaming out and nearly blowing the roof off, but Goku wasn't back. In fact, he was enjoying the fight against 16. Goku was strong, but nothing like this guy. Even so, he was trying to push his limits. The other androids were confused that everyone had teleported away, and simply watched the fight. Gero yelled at them to help 16, but the twins didn't listen. But Android 13 did. Goku shouted, 2 against 1? No fair. But neither android cared. Without a choice, Goku also teleported away. He cursed the world once he landed. He really wanted to keep fighting that 16 guy. The team finally regrouped. They were very unprepared. Trunks, the future warrior, reappeared in the present. Things had changed. He flew over to the destroyed lab. There weren't supposed to be this many androids. They weren't supposed to be freed too early. He hoped that everyone was okay. He needed to get over to Mount Paozu before the androids found Goku again. Meanwhile, Goku explained to everyone that they needed to work together and enter the Room of Spirit and Time. He put a hand on Gohan's head and smiled. He passed around pieces of a senzu bean. But Vegeta and Fasha's pride were far too hurt. Fasha pushed Goku to the side and told him that she was going to defeat those androids no matter what. Right here, right now. Piccolo tried to stop her, but she pushed his arm away, saying, "Stay back, Nail." She blasted off, and Vegeta followed behind. She couldn't be the only one to get vengeance. Tora went after her. Goku stopped everyone else from following. They needed to stop and think. Piccolo was surprised at Goku, but says that he has something to take care of first. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Piccolo heads to the lookout. Meanwhile, Fasha and the others pass by Trunks, who was heading out to Mount Paozu. He does a U-turn and goes after them. He asks what the hell is going on, but that becomes painfully clear once they find 2 key signatures disappear near where they fought the androids. Landing, they realize the androids had stolen a van. 16 sat in the back along with Jiro, while the twins drove. 13 followed by flying behind the truck. But 13 was suddenly slammed into the road beneath him. Vegeta landed on the hood of the cart, with 17 and 18 crashing through the window. A rematch? Already? But this time, there was a new Super Saiyan. Jiro was getting really tired of this, much like how Trunks was getting tired of these androids. Vegeta once again faced 13, Fasha against 18, Tora against 17, and Trunks against 16. It didn't go well. Trunks kept on pleading with them to stand back and run away, but they wouldn't listen. Trunks' sword broke in half on 16's shoulder when the androids then grabbed onto Trunks and slammed him against the truck, exploding. Trunks could barely stand up. 18 was a little impressed with Fasha. She was doing better than before. After all, their Saiyan biology made them somewhat stronger, but still wasn't enough. 17 taunted Tora, as he was able to easily dodge and parry every single one of his attacks. He even managed to flick Tora's forehead before grabbing his arm and throwing him into incoming traffic. In his anger and frustration over his own self-perceived weakness, Tora burst his golden key and landed a punch onto 17. However, even though they gained their second wind, the Saiyans were clearly fighting a losing battle, and beaten to their breaking points. On the brink of death, they all expected to be executed, when Goku appeared and teleported Vegeta and Fasha away, while Shugesh got Trunks and Tora. They ended up at Kami's lookout. There were no more senzu beans. Popo left them to recover in the lookout's bed. Goku looked down at the ground. There were no more Dragon Balls. Nothing to heal them. Tora was the least hurt of the group, and he walked over to Goku with his bandages on. He asked why he couldn't feel Kami's ki at the lookout. Goku explained to look further out, and Tora finally sensed it. An incredible ki, no doubt enough to destroy these androids. That was Piccolo. He had fused with Kami. Tora laughed, saying that Fasha wouldn't be happy to have someone else sharing with Nail. But without Kami, there were no more Dragon Balls. Goku nodded, but Tora simply asked him, why not get someone from Namek? Maybe even bring Borgos along. Goku's eyes widened. He instantly teleported away, grabbing Dende and Borgos, and teleported back. Everyone was confused, but Dende was quick to understand his duties. He could be Kami's replacement as the Guardian of Earth. Borgo was also very happy to see his friends, and will help any way he could. However, he was apprehensive about Shugesh. In fact, Borgos punched him in the face. Shugesh staggered back with his eyes closed shut, but he was brought in for a hug. Shugesh welcomed his old friend, as he explained the situation going on Earth. In one of the only times Borgos ever spoke, he said that he wished they had an android on their side. Goku raised an eyebrow. Dende helped heal everyone, and Goku explained the plan. They would need to go into the time chamber. Vegeta and Trunks agreed to be the first ones in, but no one else wanted to simply stick around. Goku told them to search for the Dragon Balls with Bulma's help, just in case. Meanwhile, Goku needed to visit an old friend. After the battle against the Z-Fighters, the androids turned back to find another ride. Maybe one of those cars on the highway still worked? It was at this point that they realized that Dr. Gero was gone. They asked 16 what happened, but he simply looked away. It was his mission to protect him, but he knew he was okay. That's all he could tell them. 13 looked at 17 and 18 sternly, saying that he would return, but that he needed to find 14 and 15 first. The twins were confused. They thought those were destroyed already. Now we see Ginger Town, the town where Goku battled 14 and 15. But this time the streets are empty, not a single soul alive, as a creature made his way through the town, leaving piles of clothes in his wake. It was Cell, the bio-android. The bug looks up, hearing the sounds of footsteps. This time it wasn't Piccolo, however. It was Android 13.
Hello, brother. I knew I'd see you sooner or later. I assume you're looking for this scrap metal.
Hand those over nicely.
No way. I need something from you first. I need 17 and 18. You know where they are.
Now, kids, we can all get along.
From behind 13, Cell heard a familiar voice that told them both to stop bickering. They are brothers, after all. It was Dr. Gero. Cell was surprised. He had thought him to be dead by now. Gero told Cell to give all the parts to Android 13 and not to worry. Gero would bring him to the twins. Gero proclaimed himself already as the ruler of Earth. The twins and the Z-Fighters were the only obstacle. Soon, Gero, 16, 13, and Cell would rule over the universe. Cell kneeled in front of Gero and proceeded to hand over the parts to 13. The two shook hands, pressing hard, a sparkle of electricity going on between them. Gero told 13 to leave him and find Goku. Cell and Gero had a lot to talk about, calling him the future android. Goku arrived at Jingle Village. There, he was welcomed by an old friend, Suno, and Android 8. Goku had come seeking help from Ader. The three sat down and discussed the situation. And of course, Ader agreed to help, and go to Capsule Corp, where Bulma would examine him. Perhaps there was a clue inside Ader that could help them defeat the androids. It was decided, but Goku jumped to his feet and rushed out the door, telling Ader to take care of Suno while he gave them time to get out of here. The girl was confused, but Goku watched as Android 13 floated over the village. He chuckled and blasted at the house. Goku protected it and instantly launched himself at 13, pushing him further and further into the tundra until they reached the remains of Muscle Tower. 13 laughed loudly. This was what he was fighting for, what was left of the red ribbon. Goku transformed into a Super Saiyan. He was sure that now he could take on 13. He just needed to be careful. After all, he wasn't as strong as 16. Goku started to dominate the fight, easily outmaneuvering 13. He grabbed him by the legs and spun him onto what was left of the tower. It came crashing down, but 13 expanded his aura and pieces flew everywhere. Goku was surprised. Android 13 said that he was done playing around. It was time for Goku to meet the ultimate android. Out of his pockets, he revealed the remains of 14 and 15, and a bright light consumed him. Goku couldn't believe it. The ice below them both broke apart. Super Android 13 was born, and Goku was instantly slammed into a mountain. This caused an avalanche that drowned Goku. The Saiyan escaped, but was brought down by an elbow to the back. This was followed by an SS Deadly Bomber, which he tried to escape from, but it followed him up to the sky. Without a choice, Goku blasted a Kamehameha down at it, but Android 13 kept on pressing Ki onto it. The Kamehameha finally ripped apart, and Goku was sent hurling out as the SS Deadly Bomber exploded. 13 was sure that this had been enough to kill Goku. As his hair returned to normal, 13 grabbed onto Goku by his limp arm, throwing him over to where the avalanche had been. One last I-beam to seal the deal, and Android 13 left the scene. Goku fell deep below the water, unconscious, but someone dove down and saved him, throwing him back out to the surface. The person provided CPR. Back at the lookout, Tora was sitting on the floor. A sweat fell down from his face. He was desperately searching for Goku. He looked everywhere, but he couldn't find him. He was starting to panic. Did those monsters get to Kakarot? Had he failed to uphold his promise to protect Bardock's family? His thoughts were cut short, however, when Krillin gets a call from a terrified Bulma. She had just been called by Chi-Chi, saying that some of Goku's old friends were visiting. She handed the phone over to Dr. Gero, who said hello, telling Bulma to call over Goku or Chi-Chi dies. Gero had returned to the twins and 16 earlier, explaining that he had just some prior commitments to clear up. They had no idea where Goku is. So Piccolo and Fasha agreed to go. Piccolo had been looking for the creature who was absorbing humans but never found him. He was sure he could at least take down 17 and 18. They both flew off to Mount Pautsu, hoping that Goku was still alive out there. While Gohan sat at the lookout, looking up to the sky, waiting for his father to return. Thanks for watching, guys. I gotta give a huge shout out to Rajmain, who edited this video. I thought it ended up looking pretty great, and he's probably gonna edit the next part as well, which I plan on coming out this next week. Sorry this was only half of the Cell arc, but me and Professor Chimp, we had so many ideas for this one, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I want to give a shout out to my Super Saiyan Legend and my Super Saiyan God members of the channel. Obi-Wan Fun, Cage, Midnight Combatant, Small IQ, Kyle, Orlando Castellano, Darko Roktansky, Zeta07, Eric, The Real Samuel Randall, Anthony Note, and Zachary Croy. These videos would not be possible without you guys. If you want to know how to become a member, be sure to click the join button down below. Let's try to get this video to 3,000 likes. It just lets me know that you guys enjoy this type of content and want to see more of it. And this time I actually gotta ask you guys, what ifs do you want to see? I have a few in mind, some crazy ones like what if Goku and Caulifla were siblings, and some other regular ones like crossovers like Godzilla in Dragon Ball, stuff like that. But you guys let me know in the comments down below what kind of stuff you want to see. I'm going to be going away on vacation for a couple weeks during June, so I'm just trying to figure out what ifs to make ahead of time. Anyways guys, until we meet again. See ya!
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to SmugStick, unless you want to be destroyed. Lord Beerus, that's hardly fair. But also, don't forget to click the bell icon to get notified when he uploads new videos.